We got Oath of Druids!
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah! For those that don't know what Oath of Druids is,
Like
it
me.
is really wordy. Are you ready to go on this journey with me, Cole?
Sure.
All right.
Looks like an Ice Age card.
It was actually, I think it was alliances.
I thought it was prophecy.
One way or the other, it's old and I don't care.
Let's see.
One in a green, it's an enchantment, it's a rare from God knows what set.
My money's on Tempest.
Well, actually, maybe. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player chooses target player who controls more creatures than he or she does, and is his or her opponent. The first player may reveal cards from the top of his or her library until he or she reveals a creature card. If he or she does, that player puts that card onto the battlefield, and all other cards revealed this way are put into the graveyard.
So are you ready to find out what set it was first
Let's do
printed in?
this. Let's do this.
So you said
Tempest.
you said Tempest. I said prophecy.
I said alliances.
You said alliances. The answer was Exodus.
Oh, that's fair. See, that was like right before we started playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never got to experience Oath, except for whenever I was playing against it in Legacy and Vintage. Oh my god, it is busted. Because they play Tidespout Tyrant.
Yeah. But Oath of Druid sees a lot in play. Has its own deck archetype in Legacy, so this reprint's actually really useful. And it helped really like undercut the price on Oath, because right now I'm looking on TCG and it says the median dropped down to like $6.
That's pretty good. Considering one of the top tier Vintage decks right now is Brian Kelly Oath. Because he won Eternal Weekend or something like that like 2 years ago with it. And Shuhei Nakamura played basically Kelly Oath in every Vintage tournament, including the Vintage Super League over the last year. And he just tore up with it. I remember the first time I played against Oath of Druids, I didn't understand exactly what the card did. But I had somebody play Forbidden Orchard against me, and they made a guy for me. And I was like, oh, cool, I got a 1/1. And I was like, I'll punch you for 1. He says, that's fine. He goes, trigger Oath of Druids. I was like, that's fine. What are you going to do? He gets Tidespout Tyrant. Plays a Mox, bounces a Mox, plays a Mox, bounces a Mox. Keeps doing this until he grape shots me for like 600.
Wow. That seems really good.
I was like, yeah, I hit you for 1.
But like the thing is, some people were complaining because this year the Commander decks, the MSRP on them went up by $5 from $30 to $35.
Oh.
But I took a look through the deck lists, and in exchange for that extra little bit of cash, you get all of the new commanders that they're in foil. The regular cards are, not just like the oversized.
Completely fair.
You get them as foils. There's a way higher density of rares in all of the decks. I think
I noticed that.
Like I looked through the deck list, and I think there were like 30 to 40 rares in a deck.
That's crazy.
For $35, that is obscene amounts of value. And then you also get power uncommons like Command Tower and Soul Ring and like just random stuff in each deck like Lightning Greaves.
Like, the only thing I'm going to complain about that we got out of this are the Odyssey duels.
I like the Odyssey duels.
I do too, but I just don't think they're high-powered enough. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
like,
I think they're useful in in like certain mana bases.
Yeah, those ones.
Okay.
Like, I
I
understand why we got the Pain lands. I understand why we got the Buddy lands.
I think we should have
gotten.
gotten. I think we should have gotten all the allied Pain lands at least.
They should have went all in and gave us fetch lands.
Okay,
That's a little out there. I don't think they would do that.
Oh yeah, like some people on Reddit were like, "Oh, they might do the shock lands because they're not too expensive," and I'm like, "You're nuts."
I mean, I'm surprised we got Murmuring Bosk.
Well, some people were thinking, because Bosk got revealed really early in the spoiler season, they were thinking maybe they were going to do like a cycle of Bosk, where it was like land a mountain and it would tap for blue or white for damage, but also tap for red for non-damage. Like, and that would be cool.
Like, I believe it comes in untapped if you have a Tree Folk.
Reveal a Tree
Folk. Yeah, if you reveal a Tree Folk.
So the door in one.
So, like, they would have to do, like, Murmuring, like, Spring, which would be the blue one, and it would tap for, like, enemy color, I guess. Well, for the other colors in the wedge.
For the one you said, it would be red and green.
Yeah,
because
red
those
and green.
are blue's enemy's color.
Blue, yeah. And then, what do they have to reveal? Like, a fairy in this?
Well, let's see. If Assuming
blue one?
if it would,
Yeah.
if we could do it off of, if it didn't have to be on a Lorwyn based land, we could do bears for Tarkir.
Wow. Why not dragons if we're doing Tarkir?
Because not all dragons are green, red, and blue.
Oh, wait.
They're all colors on Tarkir.
Let's see, that would be
You
rug.
racist.
That'd be a rug. Red, blue, green.
But yeah, like
Yeah,
I would
So
think
teamer.
Yeah.
we could do bears. It'll be great.
I'm gonna reveal this beta grizzly bear to bring my thing into untapped.
Somebody would do that.
Yeah, you're looking at him.
Yeah,
Because I found my beta grizzly bear, and it's still in great condition.
but
I can
like,
get a PSA graded for probably a 6 right now. This is the best bear I've ever seen.
Be worth what, $1?
so there's speaking of cards
Yeah.
with cool art. This card's not very good. Evolutionary.
Is
No, it's
A
like
flying moose.
Evolutionary Escalation. It's an enchantment. It's 1 and a green. At the beginning of your upkeep, put 3/1/1 counters on a target creature you control, and 3/1/1 counters on target creature an opponent controls.
Dakota. It's our hero.
Chris.
It's our hero for the last
It's
episode.
literally like
It's what could have been.
It's literally Harambe with Wolverine claws fighting like a boar with like blade tusks. Like, I don't even care. This card is so cool looking.
It's the hero we could have had.
I mean, last week we did discover that there was a Halloween costume for a baby that was called Gorilla Hero, where it was a gorilla costume and it had 3 bullet holes in it, and it was holding a baby doll.
Wow.
And we named that episode after it because it was so fantastic.
I wish you would have called it Baby Costume Gorilla Hero. Instead, you just called it Gorilla Hero. But I was still fine with
we
it.
agreed with Gorilla Hero on podcast, remember? Because we had
Nope,
the
because
fist
it
bump
was
and
3
everything.
o'clock in the morning.
True. I'll give you credit, that's true. But like, I mean, just like talking about some of the other value reprints in here, I'll just read some of my favorites off real fast. Like,
I'm excited for Zadru still.
like we get Zedru the Great-Hearted for the group Hug deck. We also get Chromatic Lantern,
Yep, that was necessary.
Revelark,
Revelark.
Godo Bandit Warlord,
Oh, Godo too. Huh.
Past in Flames,
Cole's just zooming in on this one right here. You should
Hannah
just
Ship's
scream.
Navigator
Yes.
with the sweet Therese Nielsen art for the Judge foil,
Yep.
like Gave Guru of Spores,
The oops, I win.
Gov.
Burgeoning.
Oh, burgeoning.
A card I don't think anybody really knows about except for me. Lurking Predators.
No, we know about that one.
I'm so excited that card got reprinted just because, like, that card is like my ultimate secret tech card. That and Decimate, which also got reprinted.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, did we get any gods other than Iris or whatever his name is?
I didn't
Nope.
see any.
I do not believe so. We did get Doretti Scrap Savant,
Yeah.
who was one of the commanders who was the red commander from the Commander 2014 product.
Right.
We did get a God's Chosen in Kydel Chosen of Krufix.
Ooh.
Which actually works pretty well with Krufix now that I'm looking at
It
it.
really does.
Mhm.
Too bad they can't partner together.
Yeah.
Oh, whack.
But you
You're
got
not
like
chosen enough.
you got like I mean even on the lower end, like power uncommons, we have Baleful Strix, Terminate,
Oh, Baleful Strix?
like Beast Within. The what is it? They reprinted Merciless Eviction, which is the Orzhov
Yep.
board wipe spell.
Choose,
But they
choose
get-
what you want to
They
wipe.
gave it the new templating, and
Yep.
it looks so much better with the new templating.
Do
Yep.
we want to go ahead and start talking politics? Like, just to maybe...
Oh, I mean, we can go ahead and do that. Yeah, because like
'Cause we've talked about Commander for like 20 minutes or like something crazy.
I'm sorry, I
We
just,
want to...
I just had to gush for a little
Yeah, I
bit.
know.
Maybe...
You had the white girl out on this pumpkin spice.
Like, listen, if I'm white girling out on Commander, like I will strap on my UGG boots and my North Face and take a selfie or 6, and I will get all over Instagram on this.
So do you have your selfie stick on you too?
Yes,
Oh,
it was cut in half by that guy though.
oh, that's fair then. Yeah.
So you want to wrap this up by just sort of giving an overview of how we feel about everything as a whole?
Yeah, let's read all of the deck lists. like one card at a time.
Sure. Yeah. Talk about who did the art, collector number. It's gonna be good. Everybody's gonna love that.
Oh
Look
my
at
God.
this Plains.
That makes great radio right there.
Look at this Plains by John Avon. Just look at it.
John Avon didn't do basic land in this, but you know who did? Rebecca Guay.
She hasn't been seen in like
Wait,
a decade.
she did
hasn't
basic
she?
land
She
art?
did basic lands in this set, and so did 2 other artists that never do basic lands.
Phil Foglio.
No, unfortunately. Because if Phil Foglio did basic lands in this, I would be so torn because I want to get the Rebecca Guay lands. But if Phil Foglio did, I'd have to get 2 sets.
Has this Rebecca not done a card in like 5 years or something like
No,
that?
just done a couple. I don't remember what they are though.
I just never see her art.
Anyway, these days.
I mean, she did almost all of the art in Perry's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she's done a lot since then, but not as much as she was.
Yeah.
Overall, I don't really care for these deck lists.
That's why I can't wait to buy the singles.
Because, like, I'm looking at these, they're all 4-color decks, obviously. And a lot of them just seem kind of good stuffy. Like, I'm not seeing a whole lot of a theme or character or flavor to these decks. I haven't done a whole lot of in-depth, like, research on all the cards, but I know most of these cards. I've been playing a long time. And yeah, there's some good cards here. Like I just noticed Master Biomancer in the Breed Lethality deck. But I don't know, they just seem kind of blah to me. They don't have a whole lot of individual personality. Yeah, Breya, the not green one, plays artifacts. The not red one does counters. The not black one does
Group
stuff.
hug.
I think what that comes down to is that when you're playing 4-color, or when you're designing 4-color, I should say, it becomes designed based on not what it is, but what it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we didn't see Legends in 4-color for so long. Because it just, you really couldn't do that.
That and also these decks are really meant to get your foot in the door for playing EDH. You're not really supposed to be like, OMG, step into a tournament, win everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, like, I think it's fine that they're good stuffy because, like, they give you, by having it be good stuff, it kind of opens up a lot of different avenues for how you want to build stuff. Because there's no one way to skin a cat, you know what I mean?
Says you.
Like,
I know more than one way.
when did the first decks come out? 2013.
We have a belt. I have a belt sander and a chainsaw. That's 2 ways right there.
All right, this is going in a pretty dark, way.
Have you not listened to the other 3 episodes?
Oh, I have, but
I'm ashamed of you. We tried to get you woke. You got the children's woke on knowledge, and then we tried to get you woke on magic, and you, sir, have failed in your duties.
I am nothing but a failure.
I was going to say, to add on to that, it's like, when did the first EDH decks come out? Like 2012, 2013?
Something like that.
I think it was 2011.
2011?
It doesn't matter, yeah.
And I bought the Kalia deck, and how long have I been, like...
That's like the only one you've been playing. I'm like, are you going to build any more decks, Jeff? And you're like, no, I'm good.
Well, considering how often I play.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I have 8 different decks, and this release is making me want to build a 9th.
I was already planning on building 2 for Marchesa, but I can't get a Queen Marchesa for some reason. So I'm gonna wait until.
If you're gonna order singles, just order it with those.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Well, then there's also the fact for me playing only one EDH deck. I look at making another one, and I'm just kind of looking at the money I've sunk into Kalia, and I'm like, do I want to do that again?
Well, you don't have to buy the
foils,
foils or the duels. The duels will help you out, trust me, because they do return on your investment. But like the foils that are unnecessary in there, like the Judge promo Vindicate. That thing's gone nothing but down since they reprinted Vindicate 3 times, I think, since then.
Mm-hmm. Well, they reprinted it in. Do you have the original Judge foil or the new Judge foil?
I guess the original.
It's the one where Gerard's standing on the field with the sword.
original.
Yeah, because there was a new Judge foil, and then they reprinted it in Eternal Masters, which did a lot to kneecap its price.
Yeah, I had that one.
I picked it up, 3 years ago, whenever Star City dropped it from like 120 down to like 80 for a Christmas sale.
Yeah.
So I was like, Foil Vindicate, $80, okay.
Yeah, so... I mean, like, I think they're good releases. I like that they have a lot of different... I like that they're good stuffy, so that way they give newer players options to build into stuff. And then also having the modular commanders also lets them have different options.
And I think the other important thing to mention here is if you do choose to use a partner as your 2 generals, that brings your deck from 99 to 98.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deck thinning.
Yes. We did it.
Ratios.
Yes.
We did it, Reddit.
We did it. So, discussion piece is how good are your charisma rolls when you're playing a multiplayer EDH game?
I get targeted constantly. I can't even talk. I just get mowed down.
Well, people look at Kalia and just be like, "Oh, nope."
Yep, that's me. That's me.
Maybe you shouldn't target my Aetherflux reservoir with your Sylvok replica.
I was gambling on that one. I'm not saying I didn't deserve that one. I'm just saying I tried to bet and see if you would kill Nathan instead.
Nope, I'm good. I want to keep it.
But so there was that. Basically, to me it ultimately depends on who you're playing with and what your general actually is and does. Like, for example, I play a Derivi Imperial Tactician deck.
That sounds miserable.
Where, hold on now, because you're right. The tuned versions of Derivi are all like Staxy builds with stuff like Smokestacks and like Tangle Wire and all this other degenerate nonsense. But I play, the Derivi deck that I build is heavy control with legendaries.
Okay.
Like, I run, what is it? I probably run about 30 to 40 legendary creatures in that deck. And then, like, I run legendary support like Heroes Podium and Thalia's Lancers. Like, just stuff that interacts with legendary creatures and makes them all better. Because as it turns out, a lot of legendary creatures these days are ridiculously high value.
Wow.
I know, who knew, right?
Yeah, oh my god.
So, like, if you explain it to them like that, and then you just, like, as you play, you just kind of show that you're not just BSing them over it, then it's not so bad. But, like, if you just go to a table and throw down Derivi, they're like, oh, crap, we gotta get rid of this guy. But, I mean, like, some decks I do a different theme with. Some decks I just play straight, like, I play Omnath Locus of Rage, and that deck is just Landfall.
Yeah.
And that deck pulls off ridiculously scummy kills sometimes. Like the time I got a turn 1 Burgeoning and played Omnath on turn 3.
Oh my god. That's nuts.
Seems alright.
That table died very quickly.
Yeah. As everybody knows, the deck that I've been going to lately is Brago King Eternal, or whatever he is. And every single card in that deck, obviously, has some sort of enter the battlefield trigger, or it's a mana rock. And, like, the thing that I noticed about Brago is he doesn't play his game. He plays my opponent's deck. And I realized this last week when I was playing against Nekusar. And yeah, you hated that mirror. You know the reason why we played that mirror, right?
Because you like to watch me suffer.
It was also to see how far you could go on tilt and come back.
I was pretty far on tilt.
Yeah. But I was playing against Nekusar with Brago, and my opponent plays Spiteful Visions, and then he drops Nekusar the turn after. I copied it with a clone, and then I Reflector Maged it back to his hand. And then the next turn, he goes, well, you've got like 9 cards in hand, because I have a Reliquary Tower in play. And he goes, Viceling. I said, okay, that's fine too. I draw my card, I copy his Viceling, and then I blinked my Reflector Mage to bounce his Viceling to his hand. And then I controlled the board and controlled everything going on with my newfound Nekusar deck, even though I have Brago on the board.
Yeah.
Well, there was also a time you were playing today, and Brago had like basically every general.
Yeah. At one point, in a 4-player game, I had 3 generals on the board.
Scramble first.
The only one I was missing was Narset.
Wow, that sounds like. Well,
yeah, as Jaren alluded to, he and I played 3 Brago mirror matches. Now, how long did it take us to get all 3 of those games in?
Well, game 1, we played before. I think it was with Battle for Zendikar. That game took us 3 hours.
Yep.
Yeah, and then game 2, we played it a month and a half, 2 months later, and that took us about 4.5 hours. And that game wasn't very, very swingy, just like the first one, but it was more so because we both were playing Elixir of Immortality, and we defended it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then at Grand Prix Pittsburgh, we finished the match, which was 4 months down the line.
Or a lot later.
It might have been a lot later. But that game only took an hour and a half, and it was because I never once played my general. And I just copied your Brago, and then I used it.
Yep. So if you're wondering why it took us almost 8 months or so to finish a 3-game match, it's because I couldn't stand it. But I was too stubborn to say, I don't want to do this, because I'm the type of person that's if I've wasted my time so far, I might as well waste more of it.
Yeah. Well... We're already in a 6-foot hole. Let's go down to 8, 10, 12. Hey, we hit the mantle. Let's keep going.
Let's do this. We got it.
And I know I wasn't here for episode 1, but it was all about Tilt. I could have went on for a good amount of time talking about my Tilt, playing Brago on Brago. There's no magic cards within my reach where I am right now, and I'm already getting on Tilt thinking about it.
Eat some Swedish fish.
Yep.
You'll feel better.
You're more on Tilt than a League of Legends solo queue player.
Oh my god, don't get me started on that. That's why I haven't installed it.
Me too.
I actually had Swedish fish flavored gum today.
That's a thing?
Yeah. It's Trident Layers.
Getting back to the topic at the end.
So we're wanting to talk about how can we use politics to keep us alive in Commander.
Big.
I mean, you could, or you could take my brother's method in Munchkin and threaten them to not be able to use his pull ever again.
Or you bribe them with Swedish fish.
Yeah. Hey, I could be sold and bought pretty easily for some Swedish fish.
I mean, there's a couple different ways you can influence politics at the table. Probably my favorite method is kind of doing what are kind of political favors. If somebody suddenly pulls really far ahead, they just slam their ridiculous high drop,
Jeff, block my 1/1.
For example, any Praetor would be a good candidate for this. They slam their Praetor, you're okay, I'm gonna kill it, and you kill it with something, and then later on, when you're the one who's getting put on heat, you're just well, I killed that thing earlier, so we didn't all die immediately. And, usually that gets people to ease off the brakes, unless you're, doing something also ridiculously degenerate.
Yeah. Usually that is a good thing to do, but a lot of the times people just see it as, oh, well, you did that once. Yeah,
I mean,
Then again, how many times have I wiped the board with a pretty decent board state because the risk player is getting 90 tokens a turn, and I had a board wipe to save everybody.
I think I board wiped more than you did. I literally had to take 2 turns tutoring for my reshuffleable, for my Black Sun Zenith, because his stuff was indestructible, so I could blow it up, so he could get more tokens, so I could go tutor for my Wrath again.
Well, it wasn't just that game, it was just, Risk versus Kalia in general. How many times have I gotten, ridiculous dudes on the field, and they'd be well, you have, 93 10-10s behind an Eldrazi monument.
Yeah, that's always the scariest board, too. Risk has all these little guys, and then it just gets ridiculous. Which
forces me to use the...
You gotta get that Merciless Eviction with the
new, new
templating.
Yeah.
Mine's foil, though.
True, yeah.
The one that we had was in our 5-player game we played this evening. I had doubling season and parallel lives with Sacred Mesa near the end of the game.
And that's how you won.
And that's how I won, was I kept, well...
And Awakening.
Every single time that something happened, I had Fecundity in play. And I had Fecundity in play, or Fecund Duty, whatever you want to call it. And Fecal Duty. But you wiped my board, and I had like 23 guys in play. No, I had like 32 guys in play.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, I guess I'll draw 32 cards. And I drew all but like 8 cards in my deck.
Yeah.
And that's actually what set me over, was I had just enough mana that I could play Sacred Mesa and do a whole bunch of other stuff. And, well, no, it was before I played Sacred Mesa. I ended up having doubling season and...
You still had Mirari's Wake until I finally mortified it.
That's what I'm talking about. When I lost my Mirari's Wake, I had... I went Sprout Swarm with no buyback, and I got 3 Saffrolings off of it, which gave me just enough for my Windbrisk Heights. And that Windbrisk Heights won me that game because I flipped over Awakening. And then I had my Sacred Mesa after it, and I just started making all kinds of ponies. And then you turned them into glue, and then I left them alone, and then I made a bunch of horsies. And then I made a bunch of horsies, and then I made a bunch of horsies.
And keep in mind, he also had, like, Marshall's Anthem and Collective Effort.
I also had Eldrazi Monument.
And Eldrazi Monument.
Yeah.
So all his ponies were 6/6s?
They were 6/6s with
double
flying, indestructible...
Double Strike Lifelink.
No.
You
Oh, yeah. I then played True Conviction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you still didn't gain life off of because Eberus was in play.
Yep. But it doesn't matter. Still killed you.
You didn't gain life. That's all that matters.
Horsey Land. But sometimes, in order to use politics to your advantage in EDH, you have to do like what you read out of the Art of War. And like, if you feign weakness the entire time, eventually somebody's going to catch on and they're just going to wreck you.
Pretty much.
Like what you did with Lanessa, and just basically fan out your deck and be like, guys, I am not a threat.
Yeah, and that was true, because you had to prove that you weren't a threat. Because if somebody's playing mono blue, they're like, oh, they're playing ridiculous cards. They're going to go off on like turn 2 and kill us. And then you just sit down and you're like, guys, I am literally playing no combo. And then you just you just go on with your life, you know? I'm playing Terrain Generator. That is the most brutal card I have. And I still think the funniest play I had with that deck, you were playing the dragon that had Bloodthirst or whatever.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Fairyborn Hellkite?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the I think it was a 6-mana 6/6 that had Bloodthirst 6.
Yeah, it's 12/12. Yeah, but
I hit you with Lanessa. And you were like, something's up. And you took the damage. And I kicked a Rite of Replication on turn 5 on your Furyborn Hellkite. So I had 60 power on the board.
I think I just drew my card and scooped.
Yeah. This was when I was still playing Quicksilver Fountain in my deck because I felt that was fair.
And I hated it.
Yeah. I played that thing on turn 3 and you're like, I'm done.
Well, I think one of the things about keeping in good political standing as far as an EDH game is concerned is to not reveal everything you have all at once.
Why not?
yeah, you gotta save your big guns for when they're really important. Like the game we played earlier, where I was like, I have to get to 9 mana.
Yeah.
And then like I drew a bunch of cards because I hit you with overwhelming forces.
Yeah. You drew 13 cards and so did I.
And then I pitched a bunch of creatures, but I kept Rise of the Dark Realms in my hand. And then next turn, land, Rise, get all my creatures back. I had to resolve like
You missed
15...
the part where I milled you for 32.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so Jaren, for some reason in his deck, runs Hairstrung Kodo.
The Banjo of Doom!
The Banjo of Doom. And hits me for,
card.
like, in response to me casting Rise, mills me for 30. And I'll admit, I screwed up because I have the, the original Kozilek and Ulamog in my deck, and he hit both of them, which would have caused them to reshuffle my graveyard back into my library, but we missed the triggers.
What
because I
triggers?
didn't realize it.
What triggers?
But so basically, I had a bunch of Enter the Battlefield triggers go off, probably like 15 between everybody. Like I had 2 Solemn Simulacrums, a Nissa, like
Magister of whatever it's called.
like the what was it?
The conspiracy promo.
Magister of War or something like that.
Magister of Worth.
That might be it.
That's the white black
Angel.
kill everything.
Yeah.
Essentially kill everything.
Yeah.
Or reanimate everything.
Well, I stacked her trigger last because I knew that they were going to blow up my board. But, like, I got that and Noxious Gear Hulk and Verger's Gear Hulk and, like, a bunch of other cool stuff. And pretty much at the end of it, I was left with an 8/8 flyer because I put all the counters on the Magister. But,
and then I sourced it.
but yeah, just getting those triggers gave me a bunch of advantage because I got to get like 3 lands and like destroyed some creatures and did some other goofy stuff.
We also got Cataclysm that game too, like really early.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
That's what I was referring to earlier.
Yeah.
That girl who probably still knew.
Yeah.
Resolved it as soon as she hit it. It was like, probably wasn't the best idea because it ultimately basically neutered her completely out of the game. She didn't do anything until like, what was it, turn 30?
That first game we played, and I was playing Brago in that pod. She was the only one that didn't have a flyer, and all she had was Narset on the board, and she couldn't attack because everybody had a flyer that could have blocked and killed Narset.
Mm-hmm.
I just kept on hitting her for 2 with Brago because there was nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would blink my Brago and bring them back in on taps. Like, oh, I'm going to block Narset too.
I think another thing to keep in mind whenever you're talking about politics in a game is to have effects that are going to be beneficial at the right time.
Yeah.
You know, cards like Royal Assassin are going to be a lot more political than a card like
Decree of Pain.
Decree of Pain or Call to the Grave.
Yeah.
You know, you can control and direct the Royal Assassin, and you can use that for a favor to get people on your side, whereas Call the Grave or Decree of Pain or something like that, it's making everybody mad, except the zombie player.
And I mean, like, there's different things you can do with, like, onboard tricks. Like, for example, I'm trying to remember. Ulvenwald Tracker, I believe, is the card. It's, target creature you control, like, it's a green mana, it's a 1/1. And it's green, tap this creature. Target creature you control fights another target creature. Which, besides, I love that card because it's like a guy commanding his bear to attack someone. But, like, that's another example of a card you can use. Like, onboard effects can be used to kind of, like, gain political favors. And, I mean, it doesn't even have to be, like, because we talked about Royal Assassin. It doesn't even have to be, like, single target removal. It could be, like, if something really dangerous is starting to happen, like I mentioned earlier with Navinril's disc and then Boom Pile.
Yeah.
You can just, like, have that up, and then if something starts to look real bad for one player, you can, get some favor from them by nuking the board and essentially bailing them out.
You know what I think one of the biggest bargaining chips is? Showing that you have an Iona and you're playing it.
Ooh.
Yeah, like...
do you look at the mono blue player and just glare at him or her? Or do you look at the other 3 people and be like, do you want to lock the blue player out?
Like, how I look at it is, you can use the Iona to do that, or you can use the Iona to get your way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, automatically, if you're in a 3-player pod, like, you already killed one person, or somebody else has killed them, like, you look at the player ahead and be like, I can take you out. And they're like, well, how do you do that? And you attack with your Kalia, and you put your Iona in, you call your main caller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't even like flirt with it. You just like drop it, and it's like, I bet you don't have an answer for this.
Or you do what I've done a couple of times, which is drop the Iona and just look at everybody and be like, so what color? And then you make the other 3 people start bargaining.
Yeah.
So I do have a funny Iona story. So yesterday, Thursdays are our like casual night, aka our commander night. And it was just me and a friend of mine, Josh, I forget what his last name is. It's not any of the Joshes we normally have, but, so I was playing my Kalia deck, Because we were basically, he only had the 1 commander deck, and I have 8. So I had all 8 with me, so what we did was we just rolled dice and played at random. And I had my Kalia deck, and he was playing my Ramirez de Pietro deck, which is a pirate tribal.
I've been wanting to build that so badly. I am looking for all sorts of pirates to just make tribal pirates. And it makes me sad that there was a pirate in Conspiracy 2.
It doesn't do anything.
Completely trashed in that deck.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Where you want to call this deck
You
Pittsburgh.
finally reprint a pirate after like 13 years. We're not counting Changeling, so nobody say that, because I'll throat punch you.
Mistform Ultimus, man.
Mistform Ultimus.
It's not a changeling. And Dakota has an aneurysm.
It's all right. Just make sure you got rune stalactite in there, and you'll be good.
If it weren't for my horse,
I'm gonna attach Spy Kit and then play Evil Twin.
Hey, is it just me, or does Spy Kit sound like you just spiked it? Well, I mean, that was your bottle of water, so that's okay. Ow.
Thank you. But, so, he's playing Ramirez, and I'm playing Kalia, and I have Iona in hand. And I'm like, if I can't, I have to cold read him and figure out I have to figure out what he has in order to pick what color I need to pick in order to shut him down. And I'm like, attack with Kalia, drop Iona, blue. He flips over his whole hand. Every card is blue.
Oh, man.
He dies like 3 turns later. It was great.
I bet he just drew 2 more blue cards, too. Yeah, we did it.
But I'm like, I had no idea what was in his hand. I'm like, I'm just going to say blue and hope he doesn't have any of the black stuff that's in that deck.
Murder or anything like that.
Yeah. Didn't get a single black card.
It honestly makes me sad that, being that you were playing, that you have a tribal pirate deck, it makes me sad that Pillage is red.
Yeah.
Because then you could have, like, Murder, Pillage, Vendetta, and stuff like that.
There's a bunch of stuff I wish I could have, like, from other colors in that deck, just because it's on theme.
Like, I don't think I ever mentioned this, but my favorite removal spell of all time is actually Vendetta.
I like Vendetta.
But the reason why I like it is because it deals so much damage to me. Like, you haven't lived until you have shot an Ulamog with it just to take the damage.
What are you playing? Some kind of weird suicide deck?
I mean, it was draft, so it didn't matter to me.
Wow.
I just got hit with an Ulamog. Well, Vendetta had to lose. That's fine.
Seems good.
But speaking of a deck like a pirate theme deck, that's another thing that you could use politically in your favor, is if you are playing a tribal deck like pirates, or like I've played snakes, or I've also played a Tromocratus Sea Monsters deck. You know, whenever you're bragging that one of your big beaters in your deck is a giant crab, you know, people are probably going to not perceive you as high of a threat and probably be more willing to work with you, thinking that you would be more manageable than you really are. So,
unless they've played RuneScape and then they know the fear of the crab.
Well, obviously, because this is the wokest magic show on the internet, our favorite tribal deck is the Reptilian Tribal with Zeitgeist of St. Traft. And that's what we call a table KO, because everybody just cringed at that. So, you know what? We're rolling with it.
I'm not okay. Anyway.
I don't know what's happening.
I need an adult.
I thought we were all adults.
I need a better adult.
Yep, that's fair. I'm not a parent, so this is okay. Whack. Devin, you're the dad.
Anyways, back to Cole for being the only one staying on topic.
Yeah, I'm trying.
But Linessa, whenever I still had that deck, she actually changed into Tromocratus, just so I could play my foil one.
Nice.
And Tromocratus ended up becoming Thassa. And I go turn 3 Thassa just to scry. Because why not? That card's busted. And then I just stopped playing that deck because it got kind of boring after a while. Makes me sad because I want to rebuild it now.
Build it Sea Monsters. I had a whole lot of fun with my Sea Monsters deck. You know, Shipwreck Kraken. Yes, it is just a precon, but it is precon rare, but it is hilarious and a lot of fun, especially whenever you replication it.
Absolutely. Did I ever tell you about the draft I had on Magic Online where I drafted a Tromocratus as like second pick? I went deep into blue, and I remember in the finals, yes, I made it to finals playing Tromocratus in Limited.
Hey.
My opponent, we're on game 2, and the only creature I have in play is the Tromocratus that he couldn't target. I tapped down one of his creatures, and I attack with Tromocratus for lethal. Yep. He spends, no joke, 5 minutes trying to block Tromocratus and can't figure out why it's saying that it's an illegal block. And he's like, why is it an illegal block? And I'm like, I'm just going to let you figure it out, so you go ahead and keep trying to block. So he kept trying to block, and he just starts cussing. And I'm like, you can't block. He says, why can't I block? And I said, because you need to block with all of your creatures.
Well, the reasonable thing to do in that situation is to go complain about it on Twitter. Obviously.
Yep. And I watched him complain in chat to an orc, and they were like, it's not a bug. It's working. And they got all mad. It was really funny.
What's this guy's name?
All or none.
Worth Wolpert.
Yep.
Make sure you tweeted him and complain about all your Tromocratus related woes.
Isn't Matt Haybeck also the reason why creatures die?
Well, I mean, don't forget the Matt Tabak cone. Reading the card explains the card.
Yep. And sometimes reading the card doesn't do enough to actually explain the card, like Aetherflux Reservoir.
Or Chains of Mephistopheles.
I had to actually explain why you were able to stack the trigger on Aetherflux Reservoir and gain life more than just the 1, 2, or 3.
I still think whenever modern tournaments happen or legacy tournaments, the head judge should take about 5 to 10 minutes to explain to every player in the room how Oblivion Ring hits Emrakul, because there's always at least 2 or 3 complaints around for it.
No, that's fine. we let that happen, and then we explain it. The best one is when you do the Oblivion Ring trick, where you play it, and then you blink it or something, and then you exile something forever. Mm-hmm. That's the best one.
Yeah.
Wording.
So, Commander Politics.
Yeah, that topic again.
I mean, that could be political.
Yeah, I mean, like...
Drop an O-ring and be like, so what do you want gone?
And the thing is, with newer players, that you could also curb favor with them by helping them explain how their cards work.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, there are some cards that are legitimately confusing.
Yeah.
Like Chains of Mephistopheles, which I hope you never have to play with or against, because I don't even know how that card works.
My favorite thing to do in Commander whenever I'm playing with newer players is to basically pick one up and carry them through the entire battle.
That seems okay.
Yeah, if you're playing with a new player, be sure you explain what you're doing, especially if you're doing a combo
or like
deck.
something ridiculous, or like you have multiple onboard effects that cause things to happen. Like the time I had to explain someone why my force was tapping for 4 black.
Yeah.
I was playing a standard tournament down in New Martinsville, and there are a group of kids that play there, and whenever I say kids, I mean elementary school age. I mean, like, later in elementary.
Junior high.
Yeah, you know, between 6th and 7th, 8th grade. And there was a kid there, and it was a standard tournament, and he was all excited. It's his first standard tournament. And this was back whenever... the first Tarkir.
Yeah.
Whenever Tarkir was... Yeah, cons. And I played against him second round.
Oh, no.
And I was playing Jeskai Ascendancy combo.
And you're a terrible player. This is why... Well, you're a terrible person and a player, and this is why you're a history teacher.
Yeah. And now, if you're not familiar with Jeskai Ascendancy combo... what it boils down to is it's an enchantment that whenever you play a non-creature spell, it like untaps everything, and all your creatures get +1/+1. Just look it up, folks.
It gives it whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, it untaps all of your creatures and it gives them +1/+1, and it loots. So you draw a card and discard a card.
Right.
And
whenever this is on YouTube, it'll be up on the screen. So.
Yep.
What you do is you play that, and then you have a whole bunch of creatures that make mana, and then a bunch of really cheap spells that draw cards. And you just do this over and over and over until you get an artifact that costs X, and you can just bounce it back and forth with Retraction Helix. And you notice how I'm saying a bunch of different cards? Yeah, because it's a really janky combo that somehow works. Yeah. And I had to explain each step to this kid, and I could just see on his face that he just knew that he was
not in for a good time.
I don't want to say outclassed, but I could just see like on his face that he was just not
ready,
not enjoying himself at all, and feels bad. So be sure to, if you're playing against a new player, explain what you're doing. And, if there's a way, I'm not saying throw the game, but I'm saying if there's a way you can win without doing all of your theatrics and jump through hoops, go that way. You don't need to style on a little kid.
I actually tried to force that deck when Battle for Zendikar came out. We got Noyandar.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing I got to do with it was I actually animated all of my lands with Jeskai Ascendancy in play. So I was tapping all my lands for mana, and I was playing Treasure Cruise, and I was untapping all of my lands to draw 3, and I kept the combo going, and eventually I clocked them for 80 or 90 just off of my lands.
See, I know what the deck does, and that sounds miserable.
It was awful.
The worst I felt was probably 5 months ago whenever I managed to go to a Modern tournament up in Washington. Some 15, 16-year-old kid in the finals. We're both 3-0. We decided to play it out. And,
that was his fault. No.
Yeah. Well, I'm playing junk, and game 3, the deciding factor was him deciding to, I think it was either turn 3 or 4, to bolt my 2/3 Tarmogoyf when there's no instant in the yard. And he had to learn the hard way why you don't do that.
Yeah. That does it, man.
Don't tar fire the Tarmogoyf.
Yeah. Don't tar fire Tarmogoyf. Don't lightning bolt Tarmogoyf with no instant.
And then it wound up having to be a 5 to 10 minute derailment on every other game to try to explain to this kid why that doesn't work, because it's a very long, complicated rule process.
Actually, you can explain it as
it just works.
No, you can explain it as this. Tarmogoyf is a 2/3 with no instant in the graveyard. Tarmogoyf has 3 damage on it as Lightning Bolt is discarded. Then the game checks to see what the power and toughness is of Tarmogoyf and how much damage is on it. Tarmogoyf is currently a 3/4 with 3 damage on it. Mm-hmm. Done and done.
I could see how a new player would be.
Yeah, I can see it too.
Because it seems like you would check state-based actions before it touches the graveyard and updates his power and toughness.
In order for it to actually resolve, the spell has to go into graveyard.
Yeah.
Technically, we do a shortcut every time when we don't put the discard spell, the Thoughtseize, on the board. And we put it in the graveyard.
Yeah.
We say we pay the black, and then we Thoughtseize and put it in the yard, and then our opponent just reveals their hand.
Yeah.
Technically, they don't even have to reveal their hand if you just put it in the graveyard. Because you're actually skipping an entire step.
Yeah.
So, that's what that is.
Yeah, well, that's why I actually tap my fetch lands.
I tap and throw them into bin.
Well, yeah, but I know some people that don't tap their fetch lands and just fetch and just pull it up and throw it in graveyard or whatever. I tap mine.
I actually caught somebody in a shortcut one time, and it cost them the entire match. This was game 1, and I'm playing a Modern event here, and for some reason he kept. I'm on the draw.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, I had 2 lands in play. I'm playing Blue Black Fairies. He goes, okay, I'm gonna crack both of my fetches. And I go, gotcha, and I Shadow Endowed him. He was like, no. I was like, should have let him resolve one at a time.
Well, I remember one of the times I played Legacy back 3 years ago in Columbus. I got a warning game 1, round 1, because I went to go fetch and forgot Stifle was a card.
Yeah. Stifle's a good card. Stifle's a really good card.
Oh yeah,
I have
speaking
voids.
of Commander politics, Devin, do you remember that time we were playing Commander and you stifled my fetch land?
Yes, I did.
I have void slimed fetch lands. It is a very good feeling.
Do you remember when we were playing multiplayer with Billy Bob? I think it was Type 4. And every single time somebody casts a spell, he says, "Can I trick bind that?" And we were like, "No, you can't trick bind that. That's an actual spell that's being cast." He's like, "Oh." And then somebody plays like Swords and Plowshares. "Can I trick bind that?" "No, you can't trick bind that."
Was this before or after he cast Quicken 3 times?
I was kind.
I think he did that in the same turn.
I think I did something similar to that. Be like, "Can I shunt that? Can I shunt that?" No, it doesn't target anything.
Oh.
I still want to shunt it. Can I?
Can I shunt your Wrath of God?
I'm going to redirect your Wrath of God to my Spellskite.
Spellskite?
It sounds like we're just making posts from like new players new players playing Magic. I tap my land of War Elves to get a forest from my deck.
I'm going to my favorite is your opponent casts Thoughtseize, you redirect Thoughtseize to Spellskite, and then they go, "Oh, well, crap," and then you put it in the graveyard.
You did that one time.
I'm like, dude, you still can't.
All right.
I still think one of the funnier stories was going to Columbus for I forget what tournament it was, but some dude was playing the Delver deck when it was still standard legal.
Oh yeah.
But they ran Fugitive Wizards instead of Delver Secrets, and they got called on it every time.
I am not going to I'm not going to heighten my hopes.
Yeah, and he said, "Well, I play tested this for like 6 hours last night, and I never had a single one flip, so I figured, why do I get my hopes up?
Yep.
Just keep it a Fugitive Wizard."
Yep. It's always better to plan for the worst, like Bill says.
If you go in expecting nothing, you'll never be disappointed.
I expected nothing, and I was still let down. Oh,
So-
Dewey.
Another thing that can affect your ability to do politics in a game is your card selection.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you may see a card as being group huggy, let's use Howling Mind for example. Yes, it helps everybody and people are going to like it. However, I think you're going to have a better time being political with the card Temple Bell, because it provides essentially the same benefit, but you control when it happens. Yes, everyone is going to get a benefit, but that one guy that's being the jerk at the table, we'll call him Jaren.
Yeah.
I'll just pick that name out at random. No reason.
I'll take it. I'll take it. It's fine.
If he could use an extra card at the beginning of his turn, maybe you're going to hold off on using Temple Bell until the end of his turn, whenever if it's a land or a creature, something doesn't have flash, he can't use it, and everybody else is going to get a benefit. So, yeah, the group hug cards, such as Howling Mine, Fawn of Mythos, etc., are going to be somewhat political. You're going to have a better edge with politics using something that you can control, such as Temple Bell.
So what you're saying is I should take out Temple of Knowledge or whatever it is and replace it with Temple Bell.
Well, Temple of Knowledge is a land.
I don't even know what this is.
What?
I know what Temple Bell is, but
The artifact that pay 8, draw 4.
Oh, that's Tower of Fortune.
Tower of Fortunes.
Yeah. You should actually probably play Tower of Fortune still, because you do get a lot of mana in Kalia.
The question is, when do I ever live long enough to see 8 mana, though?
There you go. When do your opponents live long enough to see 8 mana is the other question.
Well, usually it's when do I live, because it's usually like, hey, that guy's playing Kalia, kill him.
The one that you actually have to worry about is when you attack into your opponent with Kalia and you play Master Cruelties off of her.
I've done that. I've only done that twice.
Yeah. That's Magical Christmas Land, but it still happens out of that deck.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it, so...
I always try to go after the most threatening player with that.
Oh, you absolutely should.
Like the Sharoon player.
Yep. We had one of those tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, they combo off on us with Bitter Ordeal. That was kind of cool.
Jeez, was everybody here playing just the worst decks? I should have came and played Arkham decks.
You should have, and I would have quit.
Hey, you should have rebuilt Momir Vig and played.
Well,
What do you mean rebuild?
He had it with him.
I mean, I was playing my Glissa deck and I did okay.
Yeah. So, did you expect Riss out of left field out of me?
I mean, I knew you were probably going to do some goofy stuff. Like, I was too busy worrying about Narset to care about anything else, because I just really, really hate Narset.
Yeah, I did too.
But she kind of took herself out with the Cataclysm.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And I just kept on ramping off of nothing.
And she took such a heavy beating for that Cataclysm, 'cause she was like at 3 life before somebody finally picked her off.
Yep.
Well, I was the first one out, and then Jaren just like, you know what? I have like 300 ponies. Die, everybody.
Get out of here. All right, so speaking of having 300 ponies and getting out of here, would we like to do shout-outs and go home and go to bed?
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and mention, like, because I'm the commander buff in the room, I do actually have some literature for Commander that you could read. My favorite Commander deck that I have, it's my oldest Commander deck, and my first Commander deck is my Glissa the Trader deck. And if you would like to see how I built that deck, I actually have an official deck primer on the MTG Salvation Commander forums for that deck. It's a fully detailed breakdown of how the deck works, all the card choices.
That's really cool. Different
lines of play and stuff. I'm actually working on rewriting it right now. I haven't had time because every weekend I have to spend 8 hours editing this podcast. But I'm going to try and have that up sometime soon. We'll have it linked in the video description. That's all I have for shoutouts. Anybody else got anything else?
I want to shout out Cole for finally making it.
Hey, that's me.
Yeah. You got a shout out. How about that?
Awesome.
And then say hi to Jeff. Shout out. Yeah.
Yay.
Hi, Jeff. We didn't even know you were going to be here.
Until I was literally dragged here.
Yep.
We didn't drag you here. You came on your own accord.
No, actually,
I actually hopped in his
randomly
car.
came to his house and I brought him with me.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I shout out myself to linking a YouTube video to Cole showing how to beat the tutorial boss in Dark Souls 3 in 90 seconds when it took him 90 hours to finally down it.
Yeah, Cole, you finally got him. Yeah.
Hey, to be fair, it was my first Dark Souls game.
It's still the tutorial boss.
Hey, it was hard. Also,
Not that hard.
It didn't take me 90 hours.
You were complaining it took you like 4 hours to try to get it, and then you finally traded it in for
true.
Star Fox.
It was at least 72 hours. Come on.
I didn't beat the game beat me.
Yeah.
But I did beat that boss. Shout out to the people over there at Swedish Fish for using your flavor and questionable...
Yeah, whoever your marketing guy is that made Swedish Fish Oreos, tell that guy he needs to be fired. Like, go find a different job.
I still need to find those. I bet they're horrible, though.
Jared probably still wants to shout out Taco Bell for Doritos Locos Tacos.
Oh, absolutely.
Dude, I want to shout out Sheets for those Cheetos mac and cheese.
The mac and Cheetos? Oh, my God.
They're little Cheeto things with stuffed mac and cheese. It's great.
I guess you should shout out Burger King because technically they had it first, as far as I know.
But Sheets does it better. Like, way better. Now, the only thing that I'm going to say is about the Doritos Locos Tacos. Every single time I look at it, I don't know if this is going to make it on the podcast, but I hope it does. Justin Long once said, when we first had those, he looked at it longingly, and he says, "I want you inside me." He ate it.
That's good. We're good.
So, despite all the nonsense that just happened, I really would like to shout out and thank Devin for letting us use his, we'll say, recording studio.
AKA the back of his store.
We could have recorded in the front of the store, but the hell with that.
Clutch Gaming here in Wheeling, West Virginia. If you're in the area, you should check it out, and if you're not in the area, you should drive to be in the area and check it out.
Yeah. We got pre-orders for Ether Revolt and the new Commander decks coming up. So yeah, come check us out. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Like, share, and subscribe, and all that happy junk. And we will see you next time on Casually Spike.
Bye, everybody.
We are out.